Hello YouTube, this is Lori Girl. Today I had an interesting experience. I remembered when I was a child, and my grandmother, who was from Eastern Europe, from Czechoslovakia as a matter of fact, came here when she was 9 years old, taught me something without really teaching me. I just watched. She always, and I mean always, there never failed, was a pot of soup on the back burner of the stove. Of course, she stayed home. She didn't work outside the home, so there was plenty of time for her to add to it. And she always had the absolute most delicious soup in the whole wide world, because she never, ever let anything go to waste. So today, I was getting ready to can, which I'm canning right now, potatoes and carrots. And I peeled 2 or 3 great big huge bags of carrots and 10 pounds of potatoes. And I had all these peelings, and I was going to throw them in the compost bin, and it occurred to me, geez, my grandmother used to throw those in a pot of water and just turn the heat on and let it cook and cook and cook. And so I thought to myself, well, let me do that, because I had this piece of beef in the refrigerator, like a chuck roast. I was going to make some beef vegetable soup. And so I decided to take all the peelings from the potatoes and from the carrots and to put them in 2 pots, because it was too much for 1 pot, with the ends of the celery. I had 2 great big stalks of celery, and I chopped off the ends, and I chopped off the end where it comes out of the ground, and I threw that in there, and a couple of potatoes that were starting to go soft from my potatoes that we grew this spring, and a handful of dehydrated mushrooms, and some, let's see, what else did I put in there? A couple of teaspoons of garlic in each pan, and some onion. And I just let it cook and cook and cook. And then just recently I threw in a soup bone into each pot, a big, nice, big marrow bone that I'm letting cook to get all of the goodness out of that. And then I'm going to strain all of this soup, and this is going to be my vegetable beef broth that I make my vegetable soup with. But I just wanted to share that little nugget of truth that I had today, that experience where I remembered my grandmother and what she used to do. See, that's the end of the celery there, and I cut it off and then chopped it in 4 pieces, divided it between these 2 pots, and they're just cooking and cooking and cooking, and get all the goodness out of it, and then I'll strain it. And I also used a half a can of leftover tomato sauce that I had in the refrigerator, which I made some pasta sauce about 2 days ago, and I had this half a can of tomato sauce, so I just threw that in there too, and some salt and pepper. And I'm hoping to have a really good batch of soup. This broth, look at this broth. This is really rich, and I've tasted it already, and it is delicious. So I'll let you know how the finished product turns out. I picked some green beans from the garden, and I have some turnips downstairs, and some potatoes, and I have some corn that I canned earlier this year, and I'm going to throw all those vegetables in a big pot of vegetable beef broth and make a big pot of soup like I grew up with, and also a can of diced tomatoes. I'll throw that in there. So anyhow, I just want to share this with you and see what you thought. I was just thinking about it today, about the very real possibility that we may have to learn how to be our grandparents all over again. If there's going to be an economic collapse and a depression in our economy, we're going to need to learn how to not waste anything and to make use of every scrap that we have to feed our families. Cat's Cradle did a wonderful video on soups and bread, and she says she's committing herself to learning how to make big pots of soup, because big pots of soup are comfort food and it's warming and filling, and it will serve a lot of people. And if times really do get bad, we'll need to know how to have these skills. And I just want to thank my grandmother. She's been gone now for, 40 years. She died when I was 17. So without really ever saying, come here, let me teach you something, she taught me. And 40 years later, I remembered, hey, why throw these peelings out? Why throw them in the compost bin when I can make a wonderful batch of vegetable beef broth out of it? So that's what I did, and I just thought I'd share this with you guys. And let me know what you think, and I'll let you know how the soup turns out. Okay, have a good one, and keep on prepping. Thanks.